Greetings. I'm hoping this message today speaks to someone out there. I have prayed about it, and I hope that it will open the hearts of someone that it was meant to be. Today we're going to talk about Exodus 22. You shall have no other gods before you. And we often think, of course we don't have other gods. We go to church, we worship the God of heaven, the only God. But in my life, I'll have to tell you my experiences. When I was growing up, I was brought up in a beautiful Christian family. I was taken to church every Sunday. But I didn't pray with my parents. They were not, I remember my daddy getting on his knees every night and praying, but not praying with us. But during that childhood, I developed a relationship with God. And when I speak of God, I speak of Jesus, the Holy Spirit, and God, three in one. And I always had that closeness with God. I wasn't the most athletic. I wasn't the smartest. So I always had to depend on God for everything. I prayed daily, but more than that, I didn't go an hour, probably any time that I didn't talk to God. I didn't say, oh God, I need you right now. Can you help me accomplish this? God, thank you for this. That was my childhood. I had a relationship that was so dependent on God that I hardly went any time at all that I wasn't talking to God and feeling close to God. I remember when I was only 9 years old, I was at Baptist Hospital in Louisville in the waiting room, and it was 2 o'clock in the morning, and they had called the family in because they did not expect my mother to live. And I remember sitting there talking to God, praying, and I heard him say, you will go to nurses school at Kentucky Baptist. You'll be a nurse, and people will depend on you to take care of them. And from that time on, I never looked at another school. I never looked at another career. I just went, when I graduated from high school, my guidance counselor said you'll never get accepted there because of your grades, but God opened every door because he knew from the time I was 9 I was going to go there. I graduated from Kentucky Baptist. It was hard, 3 years, but I had this strong dependence on God. I mean, I had him help me through every test, through everything I did. And then all at once I graduate and I married the man of my dreams, Skip. And from that time, for the next few years, I got so dependent on Skip. My love, my attention, my time, even to the point that I worshiped him. I thought he could solve all my problems. I thought he was everything. And then all at once at 25, I get told that I have multiple sclerosis. I went to Skip, and I remember him saying, God's the same yesterday, today, and always. And it brought me to my knees because I knew right then my dependency and all the attention I'd given to Skip, there wasn't anything he could do about the MS. But I knew where my strength was, and I knew I had lost that connection. I didn't go to him first. And so as a result, it brought me so much closer to God, and I got where I communicated with him every day, and he brought me through that diagnosis with flying colors, may I say. And then as time goes on, we had 3 beautiful children, and what happens? My attention goes to those 3 children. Every waking minute revolved around their activities, what they were doing. My love and attention went to them. And yes, you start to worship them. You start to think they are so special, and God takes second place. Well, God has a way of getting my attention. And when our youngest daughter, Tara, was 2, she stopped breathing twice in the doctor's office. And we were in the hospital or the doctor's office for 9 months solid. And one night in Children's Hospital, I was rocking her, and she was critical. And The doctors really didn't know what was wrong. And I was praying, and I just turned around because I heard someone say, "You gave her to me." And I really turned around in the room to see if someone was standing there. It was so verbal. And right then I thought, oh God, you are here. I have put the children first, and they do belong to you. And I really thought God would take her that night. But it was like I had that peace that passes all understanding. I didn't worry that he was going to take her. And all at once, my children weren't the most important. God came back stronger than ever. And I just praise his name for what he's done in my life, because every time I put something above him, he gets my attention. And I know life, it gets messy. But the one thing I do know, the plans God has for me, and if I turn to him first in everything, all the other things give me the peace that passes all understanding. And I guess today, I'm just asking you, is God first in your life? I know that in my own life, Skip came first. Maybe it's your husband. Maybe it's your children. Maybe it's your job. Maybe it's the cancer diagnosis that consumes you and takes all your time and attention. And maybe it's just the TV or your iPhone. I have people tell me all the time, well, I just don't have time to read the Bible. I don't have time to sit there and be quiet with God. And yet they'll tell me a series of shows they've seen on TV and they've watched every one of them. So is that TV more important? I know that we think of there's no other gods before us, that was the gods of the Old Testament they worshiped. But today, in this world, we put so many things before God. And I know that every time I did, he brought me back to him, getting my attention. And so, believe me, with 9 grandchildren now, after 70 years, I finally learned my lesson. And every day, God is first in my life. Not that I love Skip any less, or my children, or my grandchildren, but I know when I put him first, whatever I face with any of them, he's there first taking care of the situation. So my dependence is on him. So I just ask you today, what are the other gods in your life? The things of this world are not going to take number one priority, because loving God with all my heart, with all my mind, and with all my soul, and I put that first, then no matter what comes along, I'm able to deal with it because God's by my side.